It's no question that there are a lot of people who are walking away from religion. Young people especially are falling victim as they're indoctrinated, infected with liberalistic values, all kinds of humanism, atheism, evolution. And now you add what's going on in our world today, and people quite literally are just losing their faith. For just a couple of minutes, what I'd like to do is I would like to give you 7 simple proofs that there is a God. 7 little statements that you can jot down, that you can remember, maybe more importantly, that you can pass on to your children and your grandchildren. Ways to know that, yes, there really is a God. Let's take a look at each one. Number 1, every creation must have a creator. Now, we know that today. We know that if you see buildings being built, if you see construction sites, that didn't get there just by chance. You see an automobile driving down the road, you know that that car had a creator. Likewise, so did the universe, and so did you and I. Every creation must have a creator. We never see an exception of that in science. And guess what? God is that creator. Number 2, every design must have a designer. I spent many years dissecting human bodies in medical school. I've probably, at this stage, have dissected well over 500 human cadavers. Friends, you can't open up the human body and look at all the different systems and not be blown away by design. You see the muscular system working intimately with the skeletal system so that you can move your arms, your legs. You see the nervous system innervating those muscles. You see the digestive system breaking down food to provide nutrients to all the cells in the body. You see the circulatory system delivering oxygen and nutrients to those cells. The respiratory system taking in oxygen, getting rid of the metabolic waste, carbon dioxide. The immune system, all these various systems. And as you think about that, I want you to remember all of these are made up of living cells. Living cells that have organelles inside. When you stop and you really think about all the different parts of the human body, you recognize real quickly that that doesn't happen by chance. Or you look at the design in the universe. Anytime you have design, by definition, there must be a designer. Number 3, codes require someone to program that code. Now, we know that, for instance, with computers. Any of you that have programmed computer code, software, you recognize just one little error, it can throw the whole program off. And yet inside every cell of your body, there is a code much, much more complex, much, much smaller than any computer code we have ever programmed. It's called DNA. Now think about that for just a moment. Inside every cell of your body, there's a code. 2 questions. Number 1, where did the parts for that code come from? And number 2, who programmed it? Codes require someone to program that code. Number 4, laws require a lawgiver. In James chapter 4, verse 12, the Bible says, there is one lawgiver who is able to save and to destroy. Now, we understand that there are laws of nature. For instance, things like the laws of momentum or the laws of gravity. But let me make sure you understand something. Laws don't happen just by chance. If you have a law, there must be a lawgiver. Number 5 is the law of cause and effect. Anytime you see an effect, there must be an adequate cause that made that effect. Let me give you an example. If I were to suggest to you that a gopher dug the Grand Canyon, you would look at me like I was crazy. Because even if you put that gopher on steroids and you had him doing physical training and he was at the gym every single day, that gopher's not going to dig the Grand Canyon. That effect, the canyon, is far too big to have been caused by a little gopher. All right? What about the universe? There's your effect. What caused the universe? And some may say, okay, then what caused God? God is a spirit. He's actually outside of the law of cause and effect. For every material effect, there must be an adequate cause that existed prior to it. A frog jumping into the ocean doesn't cause a tsunami wave. What's a big enough effect or a big enough cause to make a universe? Number 6 is the existence of morals. We have a moral code. As mankind, we recognize that there are certain things that are right and certain things that are wrong. Even atheists will agree that certain behaviors are wrong. If you were to ask, is rape acceptable? Murder acceptable? Yeah, they might try to hem and haw and say, well, that's just matters of opinion. I guarantee you, if their family was affected by rape or murder, they would believe that that's wrong. The reason why we have a moral code is because there's a standard out there that has said these certain things are right, these certain things are wrong. The question is, where did we get our standard from? If I don't believe in God, then I have to say my standard came from man. And yet there's a pretty big problem with that because, what man gets to decide? Is it Hitler who says that all blonde-haired people are the ones who should be living today? Is it somebody like Nero or Stalin? Or maybe the imam in the mosque down the street? Does he get to decide what is right or what's wrong? You see, friends, the only logical conclusion is that mankind has adopted God's unchanging standard for right and wrong. The Bible says God is immutable in the book of Malachi. He doesn't change. He is righteous. He is holy. He is forever consistent. And because morals exist today, it points directly back to God. The 7th and final simple proof that I want to give you is this. Communication requires a communicator. Now, I'm filming this in Franklin, Tennessee. You may be halfway across the world actually viewing this. You may be just down the street. We can communicate online. We can communicate in person. But I want you to think about what that really requires. First and foremost, you have to have the anatomy. You have to have a larynx, all the right muscles that are able to constrict your vocal folds. But more than that, we can build on knowledge. There's animals out there that can communicate together, but they can't build on knowledge. Communication requires a communicator. You see, God created man with the ability to communicate. And as you're thinking about that, let me encourage you to realize that He is communicating with us today through his word. And so if you have not read the Bible, let me encourage you, jump into it. I realize it may be daunting. I realize you may get really bogged down in books like 1st and 2nd Chronicles. Start with something easy. Jump into the book of John, one of the gospel accounts. Start with Matthew, and then look at how the New Testament is set up. The book of James, very practical approach to Christianity. Let me leave you with this thought. As we think about proving that God exists, one of the things that I think we all need to do as the world is clamoring around us, people are divided, is we need to find some time and just be still and know. The psalmist put it this way, Psalm chapter 46, verse 10, he said, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." Let me encourage you, find some time, get away, think about your Creator. Be still and know. I hope you'll think on these things. Thanks.